It is race week. All right. I'm telling you, you're very, very fit for this race. You are ready to knock it out of the park. Now it's time to forget all the physical stuff and really concentrate on the mind and making sure that you're mentally prepared to execute the best race possible. One of the biggest things that I'll tell you is it doesn't really matter if you have to miss a day here or shorten a workout or flip things around a little bit. It's okay. Right now, we're just trying to stay active and stay confident for race day. Please, I've seen so many athletes feeling like they want to jump out of their skin come Tuesday or Wednesday, and they want to do too much. Save it. The other thing too is don't be alarmed if you don't feel good until Wednesday or Thursday, because we're letting a lot of things heal right now. And as so often is the case, like when a scab heals, it feels worse as it scabs over because every time you move it, it cracks and it bleeds and it reopens and it hurts. That's what your muscles have been going through for the last 10 days. So if you've been feeling a little sluggish, that's totally normal. So don't worry about that. And if you haven't, that's even better. Okay, so great. So now for race day, I really want to focus on this. I want you to think about what it is that you need to do to qualify. And here's another tip that it's so hard for me to explain to athletes because they don't believe me, but I have never had a good Ironman trying to push for a time. So remember when we talked a few weeks ago about doing the hard things in training? So if the speed was high, keep power up. And if the speed was low, go harder on the power just to try to keep the speed higher. You want to do the opposite of that when it comes to the race. You want to look at the math. You want to see where you need to be on your bike, right? And that's some of the stuff that we should have been thinking about when we were training, right? So when we were talking about setting goals for training and that type of stuff, that's what you want to be thinking about. Now, when you are in the race, and you are over your goal speed, assuming everybody's racing clean and fair, you have to trust the math. You have to assume that the times that have been putting people at that race in Kona are going to be relatively the same times again. And so whenever you're over goal pace, so for example, when I had my breakthrough at Kona, I was just trying to break 10 hours for the first time. And so to do that, I wanted to do 5 hours on the bike. So I knew that that was about 22 and a half miles an hour for me. So anytime I was much over that speed, like maybe 10 or 15%, I would relax and pedal my bike as slow as possible to make sure that I was saving energy, not trying to get more further down the road or try to save time. Don't do that. Do not bank time. You can't, that will not pay dividends. It's so much better to bank energy because the race is going to be hard enough. You don't have to make it harder than it is. It's so hard mentally letting people go, especially at the beginning of the race when you know that you could be riding at such higher levels of power. But for example, when I would look down and I would see I was doing 27 miles an hour, I'd think to myself, nobody's going to ride this fast for the race. People will slow down. I'm doing 27 miles an hour. How much harder I have to go in order to elevate my speed from this? It's such a small percentage of return on the energy that I will get. I'm just going to wait. I'm going to relax. I'm going to let my core temperature come down. I'm going to let my body absorb food, because that's the other thing too. The more that you can absorb food, the better you're going to run. So if you can back off, keep your core temperature low, use it as an opportunity to kind of do that, your run's going to be so much better. And so if the race gets hard at any one point and you're feeling good, feel that out a little bit too, because remember those intervals we've been doing on the bike, it's okay to spend one or two of those. You know you can do it because you've been coming off the bike and you've been running for an hour faster than goal pace, having done many, many, many more of those. So when I did Kona with my breakthrough, I knew going up to Hawi was about 30 to 40 minutes effort. I knew that I had done several of those intervals in my training and felt fine coming off the bike. So I thought I'd been relaxing to this point. I'm going to go ahead and put one effort in. And it was reasonable, right? It might have been zone 3 or 4, but I had trained for that. I knew I was fine. And I knew when the race was hard, I was going to get the most return on my investment relative to my competition. Came back down. Long story short, I ended up riding 4:54, which was a big PR for me. And I came off the bike feeling really excited about the marathon because I felt like I could keep riding for a couple hours, just like we talked about back in the early weeks of this plan. When it came off the bike, just like I've been telling you, I just went for a run. I told myself, I'm going to feel like I'm just running nice and easy, like I'm running out my front door, and I'm not going to be like staring at my watch, staring at my power, doing all that. I'm just going to go for a run for the first 5 miles, because remember, I like to use 5-mile splits, and I would like to be under 8-minute pace, because to that point, I had never run a 3:40 or faster in a marathon. I knew I was capable of it, but I'd never put it together because I used to be so anxious about actually going and trying to do it that I would screw it up. So I was just like, I'm just going to allow myself for 5 miles to kind of collect myself. And I ended up being so much faster than my goal pace, but still feeling really relaxed and smooth. And I ended up, long story short, running 3:16, doing a 9:16 for the race. And it was amazing. Okay. So the race definitely got hard in the last hour of the race, but because I was smart, I was able to get back down to, by raising my effort, just like we've been practicing, get back down to close to my starting speed, which, remember, I was going out thinking that I was going for a walk in the park. And then I had to work really hard to get down to that speed later in the race. So if I had worked harder at the beginning of the race, I would have been walking like I had been in years past. So think about that in race day. Break it up into small, manageable parts. Don't worry about what's coming later. Don't worry about what's happened. All you can deal with is what's going on right now, and just do the best you can. Racing is so much about resource management, and so many triathletes are successful in other aspects in life. So think about that when you're out there in racing, and how would you manage another crisis or something else going on in your life? Would you get super panicked or worry about months down the road? No, you would just deal with it, right? So stay on top of your nutrition. If your legs start getting heavy on the run, you're probably low on sugar. And I will talk to everybody, hopefully on the membership groups or the Facebook stuff. And just wanted to say good luck. And I hope that we see you for another plan. And we'll be thinking about you on race day.